You done messed up now.
You already signed the paper.
Yeah, I did.
They're going back. Yeah.
No, not the proclamation, oh.
All right, y'all ready? Let's roll. Welcome to the Bay of St. Louis City Council meeting September 3rd, 2024. We'll start the meeting out with Reverend Reed with a prayer, followed by the pledge.
Let's pray. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, ever and ever. Amen. And Father, as we stand tonight, Father, in the seat of this government, we realize that you are king and you are over all governments. So, Father, we ask as councilmen and councilwomen and as the administration and all that we do in the city, we ask for your wisdom and we ask for your knowledge and your understanding, because we need to know your point of view in everything that we do and in every decision that we make. So grant it unto us according to your will. In the name of your Son, Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You ready? All right, welcome everybody to the meeting. Special welcome to Ms. Davis, her family and friends on this momentous occasion. 24 years goes by quickly, so you'll be here for a while. First things up, the motion to approve resolution accepting petition dispensing with election and appointing Ward 5 council member. Need a motion?
Motion.
Motion Salvo, second by Mr.
No block.
No block. Any discussions? Vote the motion?
Aye.
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 No, you're
Aye.
not sworn in yet.
Oh.
Aye, motion passes
Good
6-0.
point.
All right, Ward 5 council member, Ms. Linda Davis, swearing in. How do we do this? Roll the cameras.
Come out front. Want to come out front?
Roll the bean footage.
I don't know it by heart. I have to read it.
Bible in your car?
She got one on the phone.
I used to have one in my car.
Brian, we got one on the phone.
Yeah.
I got one on the phone.
Get the good book. Get the good book. Well, while you stand here, just give us a little dissertation on your life and why you decide you'd love to be a city council member.
Just to be the part of the future. I was on the advisory
Yep.
for Bay St. Louis, so I found that very interesting. But I've always wanted to try this, but I was busy raising my kids. So I would have been sick
point.
sitting here on Tuesday night with baseball or football or dancing or soccer or something. So
Yeah.
they're all grown now, so I can finish a little further.
I don't know. We're still working on one.
Yeah.
No.
My oldest one's sitting right there, so I'll raise him one day.
Mike. Is that Scott's wife? Okay. Sister-in-law. That's Dixie's sister-in-law.
Do solemnly swear that I will faithfully support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Mississippi, and obey the laws thereof, that I am not disqualified from holding the office of Bay St. Louis City Council member, that I will faithfully discharge the duties of office upon which I'm about to enter. So help me God. Congratulations. Now sworn in.
Thank you.
Sign this back, I'll give it to you in 2 seconds.
Thank you.
Welcome. Well, while the camera's here, do you want to go and get your cell phone number out so people start calling you? Don't. Don't.
No.
It'll be fine. All right, thank y'all. Thank Judge Neecase. Thank you, everyone. We got a special meeting to adopt fiscal year 25 budget and set millage on September 10th, 2025. And then after that, the next regular scheduled city council meeting will be September 17th at 5:30. I got a proclamation for Childhood Cancer Month, Mr. Mayor, or
Yes, sir.
someone here to receive that proclamation?
Whereas more than 15,000 children under the age of 19 will be diagnosed with cancer in the United States in 2024. Whereas approximately 1 in 263 children in the United States are diagnosed with cancer before their 20th birthday. Whereas cancer is the leading cause of death by disease among children in the United States, and where nearly 500,000 survivors of childhood cancer are alive in the United States today. By the age of 50, more than 99% of children childhood cancer survivors have had a chronic health problem, and 96% have experienced a severe or life-threatening condition caused by the treatment that initially saved their life. Whereas childhood cancer is the least funded cancer by the government, and it's up to nonprofit organizations like St. Baldrick Foundation to raise much-needed funds. Now therefore, I, Michael J. Paul, Mayor of the City of Bay St. Louis, along with our city council and all the citizens, do hereby proclaim September 24th as National Childhood Cancer Awareness.
Come on. Yeah, they can leave. Linda Kay said y'all can go if you want.
I know y'all don't want to be here for the whole meeting, I just.
Unless you want to stay the whole meeting, we're gonna be here for a while. Y'all can send pizza if you don't mind.
I love you. Thank y'all.
Bring, Joy, bring me some gumbo, please. To the house. To the house? I know. Forgot to ask you. All right, next thing on the day, next the agenda, Boo in the Bay. Brett Ladden and Caitlin McKeon request to waiver depot grounds rental fees.
First, I want to apologize on behalf of myself and Gail for not being able to make it. Chef prior to go visit with her daughter to pick out wedding dress.
Can you pull that mic? Could you pull that mic closer to you? So we can
Can you hear me?
hear you?
Okay. So basically, we're just here to ask a waiver of the permit fee to use the depot ground. Sure you guys are aware that Boo in the Bay has been a huge success for the city of Bay St. Louis. And over the years, we've actually donated what you guys have accepted $5,723. It's huge. Fundraiser now. So we're just asking, you know, that you please consider waiving the fee that they're looking at folks. Because it's gonna drastically cut into, our donations that we give to our two charities. So it's just something.
How do y'all how did you raise that funds, $5,000? How is that raised? Is it registration, it's vendor, advertisement,
Registration
sponsors?
fee, registration. Fortunately, we're not a nonprofit, so we can't get big donors that some of these nonprofit organizations can get. But of course, they can't do the write-off. So we can't get those donors. This year, we're trying to get sponsors, to help actually to give more money, not to offset the fee.
Mhm.
We're trying, something we tried to do this year.
So what fees are the cities asking you to pay?
It is the $400, to rent the ground at the, Historic Depot District, as well as a $300 cleaning fee, and also a $200 incidental deposit.
Deposit. Okay.
I read the letter and I'm okay with it, cause I mean, they do donate back to the police department every year, that they do have the event, so I think that it's a good event. A lot of kids go, and I'll bring my grandkids to it.
And
They enjoy
one
it.
of the things this year is different than the other years in the past. They usually just line up there. This year, they're gonna use the stage, they're gonna have a band, try to keep people back there longer and all. And I think if you ask the retailers across the street over there, this is one of the best days of the year they have back there, barring any, you know. So, again, they give back to our police department and to other charities as well, everything they, make on this, so.
So it's $400 rental, $300 cleaning, and $200 what?
Incidental deposit.
Incidental.
Deposits. $300 is a cleaning fee or deposit?
A cleaning deposit.
Deposit, right? So it's $400 rental.
Yes,
It's a $400 rental, and then you got your
Other
cleaning
deposits.
deposit, $300,
Yeah.
and incidental deposit too.
Yeah. I know this year we started charging Mopar in the Bay to put the event on.
they supposed to come forward as well.
Same charges. We had someone here asking for, the use of the community center, for free. Had a historical society come in here asking you to use the community center and pay 50% of the fees. Appreciate what you do, but I think to be consistent, we need to pay to use city facilities. I appreciate what y'all personally did for me, but I stand that we have city facilities, and if we don't wanna charge people, we need to get rid of all the fee schedules, right? Because we have a lot of times people come up here asking not to pay, right? So is it fair to the 1% of the people that go to events and the 99% of the people that don't go, to subsidize events every time we have an event? So again, I personally, I thank y'all for what y'all done for me. But from a city standpoint, and I'm just one person. I don't wanna waive any more fees, right? We, with the, Historical Society asked for 50% sponsorship. And also the CASA coming in wanted 100%, free. And I told them we agreed to a 50% sponsorship, City of Bay St. Louis, which we did. So it's a balance, right? But again, if we're not gonna charge fees, if we're gonna continue to have people come up here and asking for it for free, the city council needs to say we're gonna abolish all fees and all facilities can be used free of charge by all citizens, right? And that's the balance, right? Where I'm at, but that's just me, right? There's 6 more people up here that has an opinion, but my opinion is we're cities of business, and we need to continue to maintain our properties and our fee structures to help maintain these properties. But again,
It's
thank
just
you
gonna
for what
cut
y'all
into
done.
what we give back to the city.
Again, I
Yeah.
thank you.
Couple questions, Dave. Mayor, so I know on the special needs being requested, so barricades, trash barrels, electricity, I see portalettes. Are the portalettes being, or Mr. Ladner or Mayor, if you wanna talk to that, are the portalettes being provided by your?
That is a request we're gonna ask for this year.
So that you're asking for the city to provide that?
And I believe they provide that for other.
What, in terms of, and I echo Councilman Steele's comments, great event, great community event for the kids. I know it's always a great turnout, and also thank you for everything that you guys do for not only the community, but then also donating that to the police department. It goes a long way. Mayor, what about keeping this event safe? What are we looking at in terms of having our chief, if you want to speak to it, what officers are we having to bring in, additional officers to cover this?
Same as everything we do every year for all the events down there. We bring them in, they monitor the corners, you know, traffic and everything.
So what is the estimated cost on the Portalette rentals? I mean, I see it Portalettes. How many? What are we looking at in terms of what that costs? And that's Mr. Liner said something the city does for other events, but what is that cost? I mean, that adds into.
We bring extra events in for cruising. We bring them in for Near Eid. We bring them in for the Lundi Gras Parade, along with Mardi Gras Day, that Monday and Tuesday. And that's usually the only time we'll furnish, thing. This here, if we do keep them, we'd keep them from being used with Cruising the Coast that week, because this is the following weekend this year. So somehow Cruising the Coast is late, and this is the week earlier, but this follows Cruising the Coast weekend, so they would still be available throughout the route.
So that fee does cover the expenses and the cost of what is put into these events, including the Portalettes, or if there's additional manpower that's provided.
I know basically what we've done in the past, council, if we didn't waive the fees, then we would, help you all out. And meaning that individually, it's up to each councilman, councilwoman, they wanted to donate toward the rental of it, we would do something like that. So, and I'm one voice. If we don't waive the fees, I'll be willing to donate and give you all something toward the rental.
Appreciate that. Thank
Okay.
you.
I'll second that with Jeffrey's donation as well.
All right, any more discussions?
Right.
You got a body?
I'll personally donate to y'all.
Thank you, John.
All right, so, there's no motion on the floor, so we'll, do we need to make a motion on this? It's just an ask, and we'll help fund your request.
Thank you.
A motion's at your discretion.
All right. Motion to deny the request to waive Depot Grounds rental fees.
Motion.
Motion from Mr. Hoffman,
Second.
second Mr. Lewis. Any discussions? Vote to motion.
Aye.
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 Aye, motion passes 6-0. Councilman Reed has left the building. So, thank you. We'll get the checks to administration. They'll pay for it.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next thing, the motion to approve minutes of August 20th, 2024. Motion that the minutes have been amended and are updated. Need a motion?
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Hoffman.
Second.
Second, Mr. Lewis. Any discussion? Let's vote to motion.
Aye.
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 Aye, motion passes 6-0. Again, Reverend Reed has left. Proposed budget, we have the proposed fiscal year budget 2024, 2025. Public hearing. Is anyone here in the public would like to discuss the next operating fiscal year budget for the city of Bay St. Louis? Do we have to open a public hearing, or it's just a call for, it says public?
Yeah.
I would think you'd call that
You open-
public hearing to a
You
time
Okay.
that
Need to open a
officially open the public hearing.
Officially open a
Wait for the
public
comments.
hearing for the city of Bay St. Louis fiscal year budget 2024, 2025. Hearing is 5:49 commenced. Do we have anybody in the general audience who would like to make any comments, discussions on the next fiscal year budget for city of Bay St. Louis? See no takers?
Doug, I would just comment that there is no increase in tax rate that's proposed in this budget.
Okay. Duly noted. Thank you, administration, for working on the budget. We had really good budget meetings.
You've had multiple workshops.
Hey,
throughout
dude,
June, July,
I
August.
tell people it's easy
Thank
when
you.
you got money. It's terrible when you're trying to squeeze blood out of a tournament, but it's easy when you got money. So appreciate y'all's efforts and having everything so organized. no one's come forward, I'd like to close the public hearing on the public, 2024-25 budget, at 5:50. All right, mayor's report.
Public records request policy, presented a couple meetings ago, had back on the table tonight.
Yeah, there's a few at the last meeting, I think there was some, questions asked to be updated, Mr. Riso,
Correct, we had made some changes that, Mr. Noblock had provided, all that had been
Yep.
included.
Okay. All right, and I think we've just been behind the 8 ball for years. I think we talked about trying to get one of these adopted, and I think the state finally come out and said you really need to have a public records, policy in place.
They've been saying that for probably 20 years.
I know, right? I'm saying we're a little behind times. We tried to adopt one in 2011 or 12.
And so what you're actually adopting is an ordinance that then allows for a policy to be set. So it just sets certain procedures and, within the parameters of Mississippi law.
Okay, so we need a motion to approve the ordinance 670-08-2024, Mayor and City Council of the City of Bay St. Louis, Mississippi, adopting the public records request policies and procedures.
Councilman Sylvia, I'm on, just further discussion before you
Okay.
put the motion. And just to clarify, so we do have, based on this new ordinance, we would get a monthly report on all those public records requests, correct?
That's correct, and that's something that when we discussed it, we think it's important for you guys to know what documents are being requested and what's being seen. So the plan is, and I just ask that you guys to work with us so we can figure out the best way to get that report to you. But the plan is just how you get monthly reports. We will actually put that on your agenda, so that you can see what's being requested.
Okay, now I do like that aspect, and that is for all approvals or denials, right? And I don't know what.
Of
we-
course, yes,
requests.
all requests.
Okay,
Any
all requests. And I just want to make sure, I do know, I think it's in the state statute that if you don't have a city, local municipality ordinance in place, and I think the turnaround time is within 24 hours, 1 day, but we can
Yeah.
set it to where, as we did in this ordinance, that it's 7 days.
Correct,
And
up
just
to
to
14.
And just to reiterate, I know I asked this last time, so in terms of denying a request, that's gonna be based on state statute. They give bona fide, solidified rationales as to what can be denied, right? I just don't wanna, I
Correct.
think another municipality got into they're in an active suit because there's a denial that they're
Well,
fighting.
that happens frequently, because
Yeah.
sometimes people don't read the law or don't know the law, and so they deny something based off an assumption that's not true. So, yeah, the state is pretty specific as to what you can deny, what you cannot deny. Sometimes there are disputes that the city may feel that something is confidential and the person requesting it does not. So sometimes that happens, that there could be a challenge as to, well, I don't think that's real estate or business development. I think that's public documents, or I don't think that is confidential attorney-client privilege. So there can be times like that.
And is it, and I know we referenced in the ordinance what the rationale for denials, it's per state statute, correct? I mean, we
Yeah.
wouldn't have it, because it is a dynamic.
We're not exceeding state statute, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah.
And then sometimes denials are not necessarily denials, it's just we do not have any records to meet your request. And we get those probably more than you would think.
There's been no,
Gotcha, that's good, and that was gonna be one of my questions, just an estimate if that does happen. And then just one other,
some is just find the information, gather it, trying to get it.
and I know this was discussed a little bit at the last meeting, but just to reiterate, this fee schedule is based off of what we're currently doing at this point in time. There's been no changes to that fee schedule. That's what's in place now, right?
Correct.
Okay.
I've tried to go in and add, and bring it up to date on things like jump drive, because they were saying disk previously.
It was very outdated.
And so, I'm trying to cover anything that might be out there, but
In the state.
primary things that you see, if we can email something, I generally say, boom, here's an email, and be done with it. And it's quick and easy. But if you're copying ledger paper, same charges are for ledger paper, color, legal, white, that's the same stuff. Same thing for police reports and accident reports, and a lot of that's insurance companies. And usually I think it's because they're so thick.
Yeah, there was
Set
a
fee.
question about that
That
last.
was another
is
question
why
somebody asked.
Yeah, I
accident
was asking
reports-
why
asked
accident
that
reports so
question.
Yeah,
much
and they're
more.
just, it's a hefty document.
Good? More questions? All right, go back to where I started that here.
I motion to approve ordinance 670-08-2024.
All right, motion by Mr. Mr. Salvo.
Must be the hairdo.
I'm getting old.
Two good-looking guys are
I got to take my medicine
at the
today.
table here.
Motion by Mr. Salvo. Any second?
I'll second since you said I
Second
made
by
the
Mr. Hoffman.
Did you read it out?
Any further discussions? Vote the motion.
Aye.
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 Motion passed 6-0. Thank you.
And just please still make sure it's noted that Mr. Reed's absent.
Yeah. All right, next motion, council business motion, select Tetra Tech as grant administrator for the SWIFT grants. Authorize administration to negotiate contracts for professional services.
And I can take this too. So I think following up from the last meeting, you know, we found out, we know for sure that we have to follow Mississippi procurement laws and federal procurement laws. Mike Riso and I scheduled another meeting with Tetra Tech where we sat down and talked to them for territories that they are doing outside of the state of Louisiana. And I think we feel very comfortable that they can jump in and do this for us. It's also nice that they have people that can be here within an hour or so rather than a plane ride away. So what the next step is, so think about it in terms of construction. So we're accepting it, and then we're gonna go back, hopefully by the next meeting. We've actually already requested them to send us over a proposed contract so that we can review it and hopefully spend the next 2 weeks looking over that so we can have that for y'all at the next meeting. Then what we will do is we will basically be sitting on go. So we will not actually issue any sort of formal notice to proceed until we get word back from FEMA that everything's okay. We have heard from MEMA. It is in technical review. MEMA's been in constant contact with FEMA. So we've assured that they're actively working on it. So there's no signs there to tell me that, you know, they aren't. So that's the only updates that.
That's the budget amendment.
Yeah, the budget amendment, correct.
How far are we in? I know it's roughly 60 and 90 days that FEMA would get back to MEMA. Where are we at in that time frame?
45, 30 to 45. I don't have the dates off the top of my head.
So about halfway through then.
Well, as I said, Tammy, I don't have the dates, but you guys should have a timeline, and you can look and see when. Yeah, you have it on your timeline as to when we requested it. So 90 days from that date.
Cool.
I'll make a motion.
All right, motion by Mr. Salvo,
Second.
second Mr. Noblock. Any discussion? Vote the motion.
Aye.
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 Aye, motion passed 6-0. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See y'all later.
Back up here to the top. Next thing, public forum. Any public forum, people?
We need to do council business, Doug.
Oh, council business, I'm sorry. I always forget that, because we did it. We did one thing is on
We
there.
did one thing.
I know, we did the one thing. Go ahead, Mr. Hoffman, council business.
Real quick, nothing major, but, Mayor, I think there may have already been a, work order put in place, because it's been requested through Public Works, but I just wanted to bring it to your attention. The people at 420 Almond are asking about their ditch being cleaned out. It's pretty overgrown right now and kind of filled in to some extent. Real close to the splash pad up there, the White House that was kind of falling down for a while, and they redid it not too long ago.
Right past the
Right past,
daycare?
right next to Napa and then
Yeah,
daycare.
between
It's the one further, like daycare, Napa, then the house.
Okay.
So it's the only open ditch on that side. Well, no, take that back. It's an open ditch, and then they got a culvert with a driveway, and then another open ditch, and then I think the rest of them are closed off on that side of the
Okay.
street. But just that one area in front of that house is kind of sunken in or silting in, I should say, and overgrown. So.
Okay.
That's all I had to. Thank you.
Mr. Salvo,
I'm good.
I'm good.
Lewis?
I'm good.
Ms. Davis, we have a new, portion is when we have council business, anything that new has been brought up to you, discussed with the administration, or you wanna discuss anything with the councilman.
Yeah.
It's kind of the way, a forum for
Um,
us to do it legally.
Okay, on the 600 block on Turner Street, I'd like the ditches looked at. I had a few complaints from some of the residents when I was visiting, and it's kind of choppy in front of Mr. Mummy's house. There's a hole, and when it comes through, it's no drainage. It's kind of like a dam that's been built up there. So I'd like that checked into.
No block.
Just wanna bring up a point, Mike, I called you the other day about those streetlights that got whacked out.
6 of 'em.
6 of them in one swoop.
Yeah,
He does have insurance.
and Jamie's working on filing a claim.
Okay, so, any idea what about the new ones that you have? I mean, there's so many big holes now.
Yeah, they are working on getting, I think we have 8 sets we're getting ready to put back up. If it had been up for this here, we'd have lost a couple.
So was the guy okay? I mean,
Yeah, I think so. I think it was pretty much diabetic coma, maybe something like that, they thought. They found him unconscious in the vehicle right at the ramp on the interstate.
Oh,
thank God he didn't get on the ramp.
Thank God he didn't get on, he got over, he went through one turning lane and got back over before the bridge and made it across the bridge and everything. And how in the Lord, no, I had no idea, but very fortunate.
Can we make sure them two were put up first, the 2 corners right there?
Yeah.
Where you turn into
Yeah,
like the boat launch
He's gonna go
around
back
the
and
street?
look and try to get the corners put up
Yeah,
on that whole section all the way past Bayou LaCroix, road there.
cause them corners are dark.
I don't know, there's something in there.
Also, bringing that up about that little, thing, I've seen some people with some pretty good sized boats trying to pull out of that first exit. That needs to be blocked off somehow.
Yeah, we've gotten with them, they supposed to have that on a list to come block it off and extend the turning lane even further, help us on that, to get in
Mhm.
and do away with that, little shortcut there.
Yeah, it's kinda steep and the guy was kinda really
Yeah.
jerking, trying to get his boat out of there. Ain't gonna make it. I know, we'll have to pave it back, some say nothing, gravel spinning, trying to get
yeah.
Yeah.
start, That's the problem, is that gravel's loose.
It's just bad, cause it's, it's
Right
a
by the
hard turn to get on the bridge when you're coming out with oncoming traffic and everything. At least they go down, to the stop sign down there at the corner and, it's
Pavement.
a whole lot easier to get out and get your little start there in that turning lane. But when you're swinging out there, you're taking up both lanes and trying to make that turn.
And we've asked MDOT to extend that rail from the bridge out. I guess it would become considered south.
Yeah.
Just to block it.
That's all I have.
What's the cost of one of those streetlights, Mr. Mayor? Poles.
Start to finish nowadays, probably depends how much wiring's gotta be re-pulled, this and that, but minimum 8,000, probably max 10,000
Just for the
in
pole,
that neighborhood.
install them.
Cause the light fixtures are separate.
Yeah,
Yeah,
wow.
and so we're looking at probably $50,000-$60,000.
Right. 10-4. All right, any more council business? All right, now, public forum, Mr. Thaddeus Black. Don't you run off my highlighter either. You done gave it to her?
She's the one who gave it to me, and it's running out of yellow too.
Dang it, you didn't
Thank
keep
you,
it up together?
Councilman. I used about what was left in it. I'd like to pass this out.
Thank you.
The non-conforming property. Miss Linda, this Councilwoman Davis, this has nothing to do with you because you wasn't elected yet.
Okay.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm not trying to beat a dead horse, but it really surprises me that this council on August 20th voted to take a non-conforming property and made it larger non-conforming.
The house you're talking about that was added to?
Yeah, well, I mean, they voted to get a 15-foot variance for the front, and the house almost covers the property now, and the house was there before zoning was adopted in 1964, so therefore it was a non-conforming property but allowed. Section 403, I just gave you a copy of it, it came right out of the book. B, it is further to intent of this ordinance that non-conforming properties shall not be enlarged upon, expanded, extended, nor used as grounds for adding other structures or uses permitted elsewhere in the same zone. That's pretty clear. And it was a 4-2 vote, and it really surprised me. I'm sure that all of y'all have read this zoning book. I hope you have anyway. But maybe it slipped your mind and it happened. But here's the thing that I hope this doesn't happen again, because it seems to be happening quite frequently with non-conforming properties. And far as I'm concerned, this never should have came to y'all. This never should have left the zoning officer, Mr. Burke's office. He should have told them right off the bat, no ma'am, we can't do that because it violates our code to enlarge a non-conforming property. But y'all voted 4-2, so there's nothing we can do about that now. There's nothing the council can do about it. I'm still working on it, because here's the catch. I know for a fact if one person within the 300 foot that was notified objects to the variance, it sends the council not just a simple majority, but a super majority vote to pass it. Now, the complication comes when we did not have a councilman of Ward 5 at the time. So that left 6 councilors. They wasn't absent, they wasn't sick, they wasn't out of town. You didn't have one. Now, back in Doug and I's days when we served together, there was 5 councilmen. A super majority was a 4-1 to pass something when somebody opposed the change within the 300 feet. So I'm not so sure that y'all actually passed the variances yet. I'm in the process of checking with the Attorney General and the Secretary of State to find out about it. I wish somebody with the city that could do that, not just for this case, for any future cases. But I'm pretty sure that if any, and of course you did have 2 complained by letter, 1 letter didn't get put in, but I still have it right here. But I'm really concerned about the supermajority vote, because I know for a fact if one person complains, it throws it in a supermajority. What is a supermajority with only 6 councilmen? And I'm not talking about ones just absent for the day. We had none. There's no such thing as a even number mayor council form of government. Mayor city manager form of government, yes, but not a mayor council form of government. There's no even numbers. So I'm real curious about whether the supermajority 4-2 actually passed that motion. And if I could get a little help from the administration, because I'm sure that our city attorney could get it faster than me. But I would be curious to know what that supermajority would be when there was only 6 council people on the board. It's a little different, right? Because I know when there's 7, it has to be a 5-2 for supermajority. But I'm really disappointed that this council passed something that shouldn't have been passed. And it's like the city attorney told me several months ago, she goes by this book right here. And Councilwoman Davis, you need to get you a copy of this book, because it's very important that this is the codes that guides our city. And so I'm not beating a dead horse, but I really wish that the council would take some better stances on some variances stuff, especially with non-conforming property. Because this never should have happened. And I'm in the process of checking, but I wish that the city attorney or the mayor or somebody with more clout than I have could find out, is a 4-2 supermajority on this particular case. So I don't know if I'll be issuing no building permits yet. But I'm in the process of doing it on my own. If I have to do it on my own, I will. Because I'm very concerned about the variances and things that went on in this city in the last 10 years. There's been a lot. And variances are for hardships. It's not because somebody buys a small lot and wants to build a bigger house on it. That's the problem we have. You have contractors coming in here, buying up chunks of property and cramming as many houses as they can on it with your permission. But anyway, I thank you for your attention. And y'all have a good day.
Quick question. Mr. Black, have you inquired this to the administration, or is this your first inquiry?
This is my first inquiry. Because at the time, it had nothing to do with administration. I wish the city attorney would have brought this up to y'all before you voted on it, since she goes by this book. But nobody said nothing, and I wasn't allowed to speak because I was gonna bring it up. And that's another subject, another day, about not letting people speak at a city council meeting. I've never seen that happen in a long, it may have been happening, I just hadn't been here, but I've never seen that, and I don't think it's right. I think every citizen should have the right to come up here. There's reasons they may not get to the public meeting for the planning and zoning, and they should have every right to come to this council meeting and say, yes, I'm in favor of it, or no, I'm opposed to it. They really should. So I wish y'all would really rethink that process that y'all got going on. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Project updates.
So, is this a legal vote or not? So obviously, what he read is correct. I've used that same thing several years ago when it came on a
So
Shieldsboro
is this
vote.
a variance or a special exception? I don't remember.
As
So if
I don't-
what he's
Mr. Black
saying is
confirmed, this
correct,
is the
this
first
is
time I've
illegal.
ever heard of this, so
Yeah.
I would ask for
I didn't know if it was a variance.
y'all
or
to get
special
me and I
exception.
will look back.
Honestly.
I don't even know what it was asking for off the top of my head.
Okay.
So, should we rescind this until further notice? Because what he's saying is correct.
We'll wait till have administration look at it next meeting. We'll get a report on what we legally did.
Okay?
Thank you.
No knee-jerk reactions. Ba-doom. I'll take my highlighter. All right, nobody else signed up for public forum, project updates, anything on that? No, good. City clerk's report.
Motion to approve, sorry. Motion to approve docket of claims 24-044 dated September 3, 2024, in the amount of $345,537.49. Received a couple of questions from Doug that were answered this morning. Other than that, didn't have any.
Any other questions, discussions? I need to make motion to approve docket claims 24-044 dated
Doug,
September 3rd.
I'm gonna have to recuse myself on this. Oh, I can do it another way. Go ahead.
Okay. Do you want to pull something out?
I could just vote no. It'd be
Okay.
good.
If you're, I don't know what the reason for recusing, but voting no is not recusing yourself. You're still voting. So if you need to recuse yourself or if you need to abstain and leave the room,
Well, I've been told that if you have a conflict of interest, then you should vote no. And that, so.
Is that paying a vendor?
Yes.
no,
He's
well,
a
I
business
disagree with that because if you're voting no, you are still
Still voting.
taking an action and voting.
Against
So
it.
if you have a conflict of interest, I would abstain and leave the room.
Okay, I'll leave.
All right.
I just pull it out. Number 39082.
You're killing me.
I'm tired. Okay, I'll just leave. Be good.
Then I gotta do math. I need a motion to approve, docket claims 24-044 dated September 3rd, 2024, amount of $345,537.49.
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Salvo.
Second.
Second, Mr. Lewis. Any further discussion? Vote to motion.
Aye.
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 Aye, motion passes 5-0. Mr. Noblock is out the room. All right, consent agenda. Any items on the consent agenda? Discussion items? All right, motion to approve consent agenda.
I do have a question.
Well, speak up, dang it.
Well, I was late getting back. Item 14, can we pull the cameras out? I want to talk further about those. Flock cameras.
Yep, okay. Move item, item, what was it, 14. All right, move item 14 from consent agenda. Need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Hoffman,
Second.
second, Mr. Salvo. Any discussions? Vote the motion.
Aye.
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 Aye, motion passes 6-0. All right, item 14.
Yeah, can we talk?
Chief, could you come up for the voting,
Chief
please?
on that?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, I was looking at this, and my only concern is the information that you're going to be collecting on this. Is that going to stay confidential, other than using it for crime solving?
Correct, strictly law enforcement based.
Yeah, 'cause-
It uses fingerprinting technology, so we don't even have to pull a license plate through this. It can do a fingerprint basically off the color of the license plate, depends on what state it comes out of. That's how it works. It is not intrusive, it does not look into the vehicle at the driver. And
No, but I mean, just like tracking people's movements and stuff.
no, it's
without a
strictly,
criminal predicate.
we just put it at different points in the city that's advantageous for law enforcement
Mhm.
to help solve crime.
Okay.
There's crime. If we had this system in place, previously, when we had the actual leaving the scene of an accident, we had a fatality back on March 18th. That was a young lady named Brandy Thames who was across the roadway. And that would have been unsolved, if it wasn't for a little bit of luck. We had no cameras, and we would never have that suspect to date. We're fortunate we had a clue. We used, fortunately, that individual, that suspect, stopped at a gas station. Had he not stopped at a gas station, we still wouldn't know who that was,
Okay.
who killed that young lady.
I just want to maintain the integrity that it's not being used other than the purpose.
No, strictly within law enforcement, there is nationwide over 75,000 cameras installed currently. Our neighboring cities, Gulfport's looking at them right now. We have Jackson County on board. DA's office purchased 30 of these cameras throughout the county. We have a couple of coastal neighbors right now using these on 90 as a trial basis. You have D'Iberville on the system. You have Ocean Springs. And I'll give you a classic example of how it helps solve crime. June 23rd, 2023, we had Art of War broken into, and we had it strictly a vehicle. They drove a vehicle straight through the business, and they stole quite a large amount of firearms. So since that time, we had a vehicle description from Art of War on the vehicle. Was a white Hyundai with some stickers on the bumper. That's all we gave out. Our police department collaborated with other police departments that had flock camera systems. Sure enough, Ocean Springs had one in place. They had that exact vehicle crossing their bridge out of Ocean Springs the night that Art of War was hit. And so we were able to collect the license plate off of that through Ocean Springs Police Department through a partnership. And since that time, we have four charges against 4 juveniles in that case. So that's how effective it is. Also, I'll give you an example of one of your council members. Block camera systems were used. There was a water slide stolen here in the city of Bay St. Louis in a pickup truck. And the information was a pickup truck with a large object in the bed of the truck. The flock camera system in Chalmette picked that up. We were able to identify the pickup truck, and we made a case and an arrest off of it too.
So Chief, no intent to issue traffic violations or citations?
Not at all. It's does not use radar, nothing like that. Strictly for law enforcement use. Your Lowe's, all your Lowe's are now contracted with Flock throughout the U.S. At this time. So it's a really good system, and we'll be able to solve a lot of crimes that'll be able to aid in our investigation.
Toby, can you just comment about where that data is stored?
Yeah.
Where's it
access,
shared
how
with?
the data's
You talked about
It's
Jackson.
basically stored in a cloud. They're partnering with Axon here before too long to have it in their evidence vault system. So Axon's one of the largest evidence repositories in the U.S. They're contracted Axon with Department of Justice right now. And so that's eventually the information that's going to go into that system. It's a law enforcement only system, the body worn cameras, dashboard cameras.
Okay, good enough.
So,
Yes, ma'am.
so would this camera setup have the availability to update for radar or,
No, ma'am.
so?
And again, it's not looking in the vehicles, and it does not use facial recognition. It's strictly the outside of the cars. What is great for is the hot lists that'll go out. Let's say we have a murder suspect, the one that just happened last month. It'll identify vehicles. You put it on the hot list, and then also the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. When you have an Amber Alert, this Flock system will be used for that. So if we have a child abduction in any state, and they drive through our city, we would pick that up and
And
it
it'll
would
alert
alert us,
you-
it
it'll
would
alert
alert
you that
immediately.
that-
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So are we purchasing the cameras, or is it just part of the? 'cause I
It's
see
part of a
in your-
grant. It's, we tackled the grant with the Mississippi Office of Homeland Security, the $100,000 grant. With this grant, we shopped around at the different camera companies. We went with Flock, due to reputation and the amount of cameras. We wanted as many cameras as we could get for that price. It's a 2-year contract, and we do need to move on it quickly because it's going to expire in October if not approved, and we will lose out on that grant.
But meaning we would own the cameras, or?
It's a lease. It is a lease, so after 2 years, how we built it was for the first 2 years, they're paid for. After that, the city can opt out. If you would like, we can pursue another grant, which is our plan at the police department, pursue another grant on this, to receive funding to pay the next few years after that.
No, I guess that I was talking to Officer Osborne yesterday about that, you know, and it's something neat, and when we do this, we need to, as we have events, right? You know, he said, if you tell me I got a silver pickup truck with American flag in the window, I can put that in the system and they'll find that truck. So people think, oh, I gotta remember the license plate. No, you don't. You can, it helps, but you say, hey, there's a silver truck with American flag, just did something. It goes in the system and they can start tracking that, right? So, and I think when we have these events for, you know, families and stuff, it's like, you know, you see something happen, you know, yeah, it's great to have a license plate, but don't, you know, look at your surroundings, look what's on that vehicle as well, because that's key evidence as well, or indicators, that helps track these vehicles.
Sir.
Yeah, I would just comment, and I got clarity with Toby earlier today, just mentioned with Doug, this is a 2-year contract. It's funded with a $100,000 grant for 2 years. At the end of that period, it's either get another grant from Homeland Security, pay for it out of your general fund, or terminate. So that'll be in 24 months.
All right, and any more discussions? Nope. All right, need a motion to approve items to, going.
14, just 14.
14.
Motion.
Agreement with, motion, Mr. Salvo,
Second.
second, Mr. Noblock. Any discussions? Vote to motion.
Aye.
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 Aye, motion passes 6-0.
Thank you very much,
Certainly.
Council.
Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
Answer 2 quick questions.
Yes,
Kyle, you
Doug.
asked about the boot parade. Most of our larger parades, we put all officers on orders. Boot parade actually matches up with Stanislaus Homecoming, so that's a really big day for us. We will have everybody on the force. Nobody can take a vacation or day off.
So it's all hands on deck.
Hopefully, they don't call in sick.
Yeah.
And then on fees, Gary, you had asked at the last meeting on our report fees. I had researched it with the former chief and asked around. Those fees have been set for probably the last 10 years here in the city. That's just what the fees have always been.
I just was curious. I mean,
Okay.
you know, why an accident report? Well, I don't remember how big an accident report can be, but I'm sure they can be big,
Certainly.
especially with accident reconstruction. But anyway, that's
Thank you.
All right, need to make a motion to spread payroll reports, cash balances, detailed grant revenue report, grant and intergovernmental report, revenue grant report, and revenue expense report on the record.
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Hoffman.
Second.
Second, Mr. Salvo. Any discussion? Let's vote the motion.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 6-0. Any other business before we go into to determine if there's a need to go into executive session? All right, need to determine the need to go into executive session.
So we need to close the meeting to determine the need to go into executive session, and those are to discuss 2 notice of appeals that we received last week, one in the LeBlanc Planning and Zoning application, and the other on the short-term rental ordinance.
All right, need to make a motion to close the meeting.
motion to close the meeting.
Motion, Mr. Noblock.
Second.
Go in
Mr.
executive
Lewis.
session.
Vote the motion.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion
Aye.
passes 5-0. Ms. Hoffman's out the room. Need a motion to go in executive session?
Actually, Caitlin, are we? Yeah, we need to make sure that live streaming's off.
So So I need to make a motion to go in executive session, right?
You do, once we're not live. The meeting's closed.
Okay.
I don't know if it's off or not. I'm waiting on her to tell me that.
Okay.
I know the microphones are off, but I don't know if that.
You can stay.